Have you thought about retiring early, taking a break from work, taking some sort of a hiatus for 6 months or a year, and you get pushback from your friends, from people that you work with, telling you that it's not a good idea? Well, today we are going to talk about the importance of moving in silence to meet your financial goals. I hope you'll stick around. Hi everyone, I'm Bonita from Pennies to Dollars, and welcome to my channel where we talk about frugal living, saving money, cutting expenses, and living your best life on less. I'm an early retiree at the end of October when I was 57. I am now 58. I have been living frugally most of my life. However, I have tweaked it more over the last 5 years as I was preparing for early retirement. I took a close look at my bills. I took a close look at any debt that I had, and I hit it hard trying to get that completely wiped out so that I could meet my timeline of retiring early. And I was able to do it. Now, I would like to focus today on moving in silence to meet your financial goals. I have talked about this in a prior video quite a long time ago, and I just think it's so important that I want to revisit it again today. When you move in silence to meet your financial goals, you sit down yourself, you look at your bills, you look at your interests, you look at your income, you look at any areas that you can cut or minimize your spending that is unnecessary, and you hit that debt hard to get it paid off. And you decide for yourself what is best for you in your life. You don't ask opinions. You don't ask people to give you advice on your finances. I have found that when you do that, people will tell you what they think is right, and you may be taking advice from people who are actually in debt. So I believe that you really need to determine this for yourself. This is what I did to get out of debt. This is what I did to retire early. Is I looked at everything I was doing, what was working for me, what was not working for me, places that I felt was important in my finances, and places where I felt I was losing money. Now, not everyone will agree with me, and that is why you move in silence. For me personally, I was losing tons of money in the 401k. I was putting money in every single pay period and losing more than I put in every single month for about 2.5 years. And where I worked at, contributing to the 401k was mandatory. I didn't have a choice. I had a choice on how much percentage I put in, but I didn't have a choice about not contributing. So because I kept losing money, even though I had it in the most conservative areas I could for investing within the 401k, I put it down to the lowest percent possible because it just angered me every single time that I checked it, and I had lost money again and again and again. And so for me personally, I didn't want to do that. But I know the norm is that this is a good thing. Now, 401ks came out in the 70s. They're relatively a new thing. But I worked with seniors who had worked sometimes 30 years at a business and would get a 401k, and maybe their payout was like $200 a month when they had hundreds of thousands in there. So these things influenced me to move in silence and not go with the norm. You do whatever is best for you. Maybe you have better insights into what to invest in within your 401k, and that's fine. This video is not about not investing in a 401k. This video is about moving in silence to meet your financial goals. The next thing that I did against popular opinion is I don't invest in like stock markets or anything like that. I never have. I don't feel comfortable doing that. We were trained on it in high school. We even had a stock market group where we chose stocks and tracked them and made money that was just on paper. But I never felt comfortable doing it. And so that's something I never did. My aunt lost a lot of money in the stock market. That impacted my decision to not do that. And I also chose to move my money from a savings account to a money market checking account. Now, there's a difference between a money market mutual fund that you invest in with a financial advisor that has risk and a money market checking account, which is kind of like a savings account with a bank. The money market savings account has a high yield interest rate that as your balance builds at different levels that they set, your interest also goes up. I felt like that was better for me. It was accessible. I could get my money out up to 6 times a month if needed, but this was my retirement account, so I don't touch the money, but I could if I needed to. It was accessible, it had high interest, and by moving it there, I made 3 times as much per quarter as I was making in a savings account. For me, that was enough. We also owned our own businesses for 7.5 years, and we lived on one income while we stuck money back for savings for our retirement during that 7.5 years. My husband ran the store, I helped him, and I was the breadwinner. We lived on my income while we ran the business. And then when we sold the business for essentially double what we paid for the building, we should have got way, way more than that. In fact, we should have got about $200,000 more than that. But times were hard. COVID was still going on, and that was the best we could do. So we sold it for double what we'd paid for the building. We clearanced out the foods because the new owner wanted to buy all of her own specific products, and we stuck that money back as well. So you could say, well, she had a business. That is why she has money. But as I just told you, we lived on one income that entire time so that we could stick money back. So it is possible to be able to live on savings and to create savings because we did that. These were businesses in towns of under 500 people. So we struggled with competition with the big cities. And that's part of the reason that he didn't draw an income that entire time. So when I talk about moving in silence, it is you determining what is best for you, because I can guarantee you that if you ask opinions or you share what your idea of what you're going to do with your finances and how you're going to manage your money, you are going to get all kinds of opinions and advice and people telling you what you should do with your money and how this is a bad idea or this is a better idea, or people wanting you to invest in what they think is something that they invest in that you should invest in as well. Not everyone has your best interests in mind. Some people have ulterior motives. Some people just want to feel right. Some people are getting a kickback for referring you for these things. There's all kinds of reasons why people give advice to other people on their finances. But when it comes down to it, you are the one that earned the money. You are the one that should decide how your money is spent. Don't rely on others to advise you on what to do with your money, because they will advise you right or wrong the way that they think is right, and it doesn't always work for you. Moving in silence is a great way to stick money back, to buy or live cheaper than you need to live so that you can build that savings. That savings has been so important to us over the years. We've had things come up with the house. We have had things come up where we needed to travel. We've had things come up where we needed to access that money, but it was still building. And if we could access it out of the money that we had coming in every month, We always chose to default there first before we ever touched that money. And so we are able to know that we have this cushion, that we have this savings, and that we can proceed the way we see is best. Now, I've seen a lot of videos lately on not looking like you have money, that makes it best. So people aren't thinking that you need to do this, do that, spend your money here, spend your money there, take these trips. Why do you live like this? Why don't you live a little? Why don't you spend more of this? You can't take it with you. And that is another reason to move in silence. Because if you look like you have money or you spend like you have money, you're going to have people helping you spend that money. But if you look modest and you look like you are living very basic, very general, very reasonable, people are not going to suspect that you have money stuck back. And they might be less likely to think or to advise you to do this or that with your money. I thought it was so interesting. I watched this video the other day of this young man who had worked in a bank. He said he was to look a certain way. He was to have his hair cut a certain way. He was to wear a suit. He was to wear fancy shoes. He was to wear very nice clothes to be presentable in this bank. And when people would come in, he's behind the counter. They couldn't see his shoes. They couldn't see his pants. He switched out his shirts, but he wore the same suit the whole time that he worked there, and no one noticed. And he said that he noticed with the customers that came in, that the ones that came in and looked like they had money were the ones that were in debt, the ones that had the lowest checking account balance or were living paycheck to paycheck. The people that came in and looked like they were very modest, didn't have a lot of money, they were the ones with the big bank account balances. Isn't that interesting? So I wanted to share with you, do not feel bad to move in silence. Do not feel bad to do the things that you need to do, that you know you need to do, because no one is earning that money for you. No one should be helping you spend that money or giving you advice on what to do with that money. These choices are entirely up to you. Move in silence. That's how I was able to retire early. My kids supported me 100%. I have 6 grown children, and they were all like, Mom, we would love to see you retire. You have worked 3 jobs most of our lives. You've always worked so hard. If you can retire early, we would love to see you do that. And they knew that I knew my numbers. It was more the people outside of my family that would be like, wow, are you sure you could do this? Are you sure you have enough? Well, how much do you have? Well, how can you live on that? That's why I didn't tell the people outside of my inner circle. Having that inner circle of people that support you, that understand that you know what you're doing, that understand that you know how to manage your money, that you know how to get by, that you know how to live frugally, that you know how to still enjoy your life on the money that you have coming in, that you know how to spend it wisely. That is your tribe. Those are the people you can trust with your decisions. Those are the people that will help you and support you as you make your decisions to either retire early, take a hiatus, spend your money on a new used car, whatever it is. Those are the people that will support you and not judge you. But if you share that outside of that inner circle, you will get a lot of opinions, you will get a lot of pushback, and it will start messing with your self-confidence as to, can I do this? I don't know if I can do this. Maybe they're right. Maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I should work another 2 years or another 3 years or another 5 years. That's why you move in silence. You know your numbers. You know your income. You know what you can live on, and you are the one in the end that has to live with your decision. I would love to see you join this channel and have more conversations with us in the comments. This is a great community, a very supportive community, and I just want to thank you today for listening to my little spiel on moving in silence. You have a great day.